For more on what's actually going on in the world, the man who studies it, Steve Milloy, joins us now. He's a senior E&E Legal Fellow and a former Trump-Pence EPA transition team member. Steve, good to have you with us, sir.
Hey, Vince, thanks for having me back.
I always cringe when I hear that China and the United States are going to discuss the, quote, climate crisis, because that means we're getting hurt and they're making out like bandits. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah, this agreement is nothing more than a sop from communist China to help Biden and Kerry politically and to keep the, America hurting climate hoax going. The agreement they claim to have reached doesn't bind China to cut emissions or really do anything else. All they really want to do is keep the climate hoax alive. And why do they want to do that? Well, U.S. climate spending and regulations hurt the U.S. economy, help China. Mandates, of course, deepen U.S. dependence on China. And both of those help, compromise U.S. national security, which, of course, advances China's goal of being a lone global superpower by 2049.
Even if they pinky promised that they would, cut some sort of emissions or something, Like, the idea is so crazy. They won't even share with us. They were deleting data about COVID. They're not going to share information about their energy output.
Well, absolutely. And since when do we trust communists? I mean, the last people to trust the communists were the British when they gave up Hong Kong. And Hong Kong was supposed to be, basically an independent place for 50 years. Didn't even make it 20.
Good point. How'd that go? Not well at all. So here we are making big agreements again with China and hoping that they hold their end of the bargain. And I'm not sure why. On this whole climate alarmism front, I'm seeing a bunch of things this week. One is there's a big Lancet study out this week that claims that heat-related deaths have risen precipitously. People are dying more due to heat now, especially among the elderly age group. It's suggesting that heat stroke is becoming more common. Heat deaths are becoming more common. But one of the things that I've noticed about all the coverage of this, Steve, is I don't see the word cold anywhere. I don't see any reference to cold deaths in the New York Times, in Axios, or even in the Lancet study itself. Yeah. Why didn't they tell me about cold deaths?
Because the reality is that cold weather is far more deadly and dangerous than warm weather. It's just a universal constant no matter where you live, even if it's like sunny Florida, Southern California. Deaths and illness increase in the wintertime and they decrease in the summer. This notion that there's more heat waves and more heat waves killing more people is ridiculous. The best temperature data we have in the world are from the United States, and we can clearly see that the 1930s were very hot, a lot of heat waves. And since then, heat wave intensity and frequency has declined dramatically. So today is nothing like it was in the 1930s. And if you die from heat today, you're either doing something stupid, you're not drinking enough water, you're exerting too much in hot weather, or you don't have access to air conditioning. And of course, the Greens are coming after our air conditioning. They don't want us to use air conditioning, but of course, air conditioning is the only defense, or it's the best defense against heat.
Yeah, there was a report in the Wall Street Journal in 2021. Cold temperatures kill 8 times as many people as hot temperatures. 8 times as many people. In other words, warmer temperatures save lives. And I'm not saying the Lancet didn't say that this week. They said that there's a lot more death occurring. That's actually a lie. There's a lot more life occurring.
Oh, absolutely. And, I've been through this before with the Lancet. I mean, they lie about their data. They misrepresent their data. The reality is that cold weather is far more dangerous to people. Wintertime is far more dangerous than summer. In the winter, if you're freezing to death, there's little you can do. In the summer, in the worst heat, there's something you can do to save yourself. This is just more climate propaganda. As we get closer to the UN conference that's going to be in Dubai this year, COP28, we're just going to hear more and more of this climate propaganda. This week the Biden administration came out with their national climate assessment. Basically bemoaning how the world is coming to an end. It's not true.
Dubai. So we're having the climate conference in Dubai. Does Dubai run off of solar panels and windmills? How does Dubai operate?
Well, interestingly enough, the president of the conference is also the CEO of the UAE National Oil Company. So you just swallow.
I can't. I want to curse, but I can't curse on the radio. It's bull crap. This whole thing. is bullcrap, Steve. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, when are they going to stop falling for it? You know, what was it? Michael Moore made a movie a couple years ago about this, where he starts freaking out that the whole green energy movement is a scam. It's hilarious, and the left hated it because he said that. They were like, "Don't." So nobody watched the movie. The right hates this guy, Michael Moore, because he's a fat clown, and then the left hates the guy because he was saying something true, that the green movement is a big old scam. And here you have, so UAE's hosting it, and the guy who's running the whole thing runs the largest oil company.
Yeah, and I don't know how we're going to get out of this. I mean, the Inflation Reduction Act that Biden had passed last year, the price tag, was only like $370 billion for green stuff. But of course, Goldman Sachs did the real analysis, and the real cost is $1.2 trillion. And, we have all these rent-seeking industries, wind, solar, EVs. Those guys want that money, plus all the researchers out there. Those guys want that money. So how is this stuff going to go away? I mean, they are incentivized to lie all the time, and they do. All you got to do is just turn on the news and listen to the lies about climate.
Yeah. And then they have their stupid publications tell us that they're saving lives when, in fact, their technologies kill more people. More people die because of this.
Yeah, so they've got all these people buying e-bikes, and of course there's just this rash of, e-bike explosions. People leave the things plugged in, and they explode at night and kill people. These EVs sort of spontaneously combust. One day EVs are going to spontaneously combust in an office building garage or an apartment building garage, and it's going to be a real problem.
But if you're telling people that they can't operate their heating in their home during the coldest months of winter, you can't operate during peak times, you're going to kill people like that.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, the Biden administration wants everyone to get rid of their, gas furnaces in favor of heat pumps. Well, of course, if you live in really cold places, heat pumps basically quit working at about 40 degrees. And it can get awful cold in like Minnesota and Michigan and Maine, places like that. They can't go on heat pumps. Heat pumps don't work.
I was talking to a guy from Alaska this week. Alaska runs on gas. That's their whole thing, because they're in a very cold climate and they need gas to keep the heat coming, or else they don't have it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And of course, the cold weather, once again, is, the number one seasonal killer, no matter where you live.
I've got more climate data deception going on this week. Again, my colleagues over at the Daily Caller, this time from the Daily Caller News Foundation, they say a key stat used in the Biden administration's landmark climate report is misleading. It was the 5th National Climate Assessment, and it shows makes a bunch of different dramatic claims. But in one of the graphics, it would lead viewers of the graphic to believe that there have been more than $900 billion $900 billion loss events. That is 900 individual events where $1 billion was lost in damages due to climate. However, data published by the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, shows the actual number for that time period is actually just 373. And the reason for the discrepancy between NOAA's data and the NCA 5 graphic is that billion-dollar damage events typically impact more than just one state. So they were padding the numbers. They would count each state individually here. Additionally, all these claims about climate damage causing billions of dollars of damage, it's never been like this before. Isn't it the case, Steve, that we just have higher density and we have more expensive buildings in the path of some of these storms now?
Yeah, so one of the tropes of climate idiocy is that extreme weather is causing more damages. Addressing the extreme weather, first off, there's no sort of extreme weather that correlates with growth in emissions or any of the slight warming we may have experienced. When you get to these disasters themselves, well, they're more expensive. In a state like Florida, Florida's population has grown 30% just since 2005. That's not even 20 years, and they've grown 30%. And of course, with that 30% increase, not only are there a lot more people with a lot more stuff, there's a lot more development. So anytime a storm comes through, of course, there's going to be higher damages. And this is the dirty secret of all these damage calculations. Once you adjust them for population growth and for GDP, they go with, there's no trend.
Yes.
There's no trend in damage.
I noticed that they don't talk about loss of life. Why is that?
That's another great point. Over the last 100 years, the mortality from natural disasters has decreased by about 99%. We just have the wherewithal. We have the alert systems. We have the means of avoiding extreme weather. We just have all sorts of technology and knowledge that we didn't have 100 years ago that we could save ourselves with, and we employ this every day. But alarmism wants to scare you that storms are just going to destroy our world.
Right.
It's not true.
And the quality of construction's gone up a lot as well in order to meet. Like if you live in a storm region, you should probably build your house to get ready for it, like just in case.
Yeah, I mean, and nowadays, with the alert system, we have people evacuate. If there's going to be a big storm that hits, we evacuate. So we have a lot less loss of life.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. But it's amazing though, because like if I watch NBC, they'll never tell me this. They won't tell us. They won't tell me a word about this, Steve. Anything that you just said. Human lives are being saved. That's a great story. I guess that's why they don't tell me about it.
Yeah, look, I say this as often as I can. Virtually everything climate is a lie. It's true that carbon dioxide has greenhouse gas properties, but after that, it's all just made up. Okay. And it's all made up for a political or a financial purpose. And, people that are interested in this, can follow me on X @JunkScience. I do this every day.
Please follow him. Steve's got a lot of good stuff to say. Steve Milloy, again, his X account, Junk Science. And Steve, really appreciate your time as always. Thank you.